Good morning, everybody, and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling News, and happy CM Punk Day to all who celebrate, except Roman Reigns.
Christian Cage retires the TNA title.
Tony Khan teases a major AEW surprise. What could it be?
And WWE reportedly wanted Mike Tyson for SummerSlam. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Adam Cleary.
And this is the news in the studio.
Yay! Why is it blue? SmackDown Day.
SmackDown, and I think a little bit of Rampage in the orangey red bit.
Oh, very good, very good. Also, my eye is red because I've been poking it and rubbing it. But anyway, CM Punk, he is in the news today, and of course he has. I mean, my headline here is that Roman Reigns shoots on CM Punk, but a more accurate headline would be that Roman Reigns is rattled by the very concept of CM Punk. Because in an interview with, and I promised I wasn't going to mispronounce this, Ariel Helwani, you get UFC, you're all used to know, he has been talking. He was asked the question about how he felt about part-timers, because obviously he's wrestling John Cena at SummerSlam, part-timers been a big thing of that. But of course, if you are talking about people who leave the sport and return to the sport, there's kind of a slightly bigger story at the minute, and that is the potential arrival of CM Punk in AEW. Now, Roman Reigns rambled on incoherently for a couple of minutes, so shaken up was he by the question. But one good takeaway was thus. I'm not going to do the voice.
Okay.
I do think there's that strange threshold. But I think those statements are coming from bitter people who possibly thought they were better than they really were. When it comes down to it, CM Punk was not as good or was not as over as John Cena, wasn't as good, wasn't as over or moved the needle like The Rock. It just was what it was. And of course, my big takeaway from that is that Roman Reigns watches Love Island. Obviously, with that little sign off there, well, it is what it is, you know how these things are. But is he going to talk about moving the needle? A man who has just seen the needle move to the tune of about 500,000 people when John Cena came back to wrestle him? Is that, do you think going to go with it?
Yeah, I feel like, it is obviously very in character for Roman Reigns at the moment to be just saying, well, I'm better than everyone. He shot on Moxley as well, saying he thought he could be the man. If he wanted to be the man, he should have been the man in WWE, but he couldn't have been the man because I'm the man. And that's pretty much verbatim what he said. It sounds like I'm just making that up, but that's basically what he said.
I do like, by the way, how John Cena was trying to steer into the whole Moxley angle, even though he's not called that. Like, oh, you got Dean Ambrose out of WWE. Genuinely, so many casual fans would be like, I don't remember who that person is. What's he doing these days? It's interesting, this.
Yeah, I think a little bit it may well be The Office sort of leaning on him, going, tell everyone how crap CM Punk is.
You see, this is the thing, though, because WWE's policy with this is normally to completely deny these people ever exist. So I would have imagined the Office instruction is to just not acknowledge that CM Punk is coming back to AEW. Because let's face it, at this stage, CM Punk is not to come back to AEW. Right now, you are giving headlines that don't exist.
Yeah.
If you're a casual WWE fan who really misses CM Punk but doesn't pay any attention to AEW, doesn't have your ear to the ground, doesn't watch the award-winning wrestling coverage here on WhatCulture, you might not know about this. And you've just watched the Roman Reigns interview and gone,
why is he mentioning him after 7 years?
Why is he mentioning CM Punk? And then you do a quick cursory Google and, oh, look at that, you're watching AEW tonight. So I don't think that's an instruction that's going to come for The Office. Anyway, Mick Foley jumped in on this to say that in capitals, as all men his age do on social media, CM Punk was damn good and damn over. Well, he changed my mind, went on a load of stuff. Basically, open goal for Mick Foley there to get some likes, to get some interaction by dunking on John Cena.
Yeah, I think the thing is, as well, is it's a different state of affairs in WWE. And I think Sidge was saying this in The Office earlier, that it's difficult because now WWE's biggest star is WWE. Roman Reigns is the figurehead, but back in the day there were, your Hogans, your Rocks, Austins, and then Cena and Punk was arguably one of the last ones.
I'll just surmise this for you. Michael Hamflett put this as beautifully as I've ever heard it said. When you go to a WWE house show, not the big ones, when you go to a house show, the biggest cheer of the night is for then, now, forever. Nobody is as over as the concept of just being at a WWE show. So, interesting angle for Roman Reigns to go down, I think, saying that he didn't move the needle and he's not as over as he thought he was. But I will say, still for me, the most important thing there is it is just nice to know that Roman Reigns watches Love Island. What's your story?
My first story is all about Christian. He appeared for the first time in over a decade in the Impact Zone last night.
Did it move the needle?
We'll find out, I suppose. But he was there, unfortunately, to retire the TNA World title. That, of course, was brought back by Moose, friend of the channel. And Christian won both titles, the TNA and now the Impact World title, which will be the main title they're going to remain focusing on Impact, of course. He won both of them from Kenny Omega on last week's Rampage, let's not forget. But he retired the title, the TNA title that is, and said it was about this title was so legendary it was time to retire the well-established belt and shift the focus solely to the Impact World title. He handed it over to long-time announcer David Penza, saying the lineage of this TNA championship will be ingrained in my soul forever and in this company forever. Great to see Christian back in the Impact Zone, because that's where he sort of made a name for himself as a singles star.
Can we start having the conversation now that Christian is better than Edge? That's not me saying he is. That's not me saying he is. You can get out of the little box, right? Can we have the conversation now?
As in right now, or
just this time of history? Is it not broachable?
I think
that Kenny Omega match was excellent, really excellent. Some of the work he's done in AEW, granted not with the same pomp and ceremony of Edge's return, obviously because under massively different circumstances, but that's been really quietly good as well, whereas some of Edge stuff's been a little bit hit and miss.
Yeah, Grumpy Edge was weird for a while, yeah. I'll admit that. But, well, I suppose the test is coming in the next few weeks and months. Edge facing Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, that's a really, really interesting setup. And Christian fighting Kenny Omega for the world title, the AEW world title, All Out. I think that's the decider. That's the quiz.
I don't look. I know this is going to get me some heat, but I think if the question was who's the better Adam, me or Edge, and I was wrestling Kenny Omega soon and he was wrestling Seth Rollins, I think I've got an all right shot there. Yeah. I think I've got an all right shot of getting dragged to a slightly better. I'm going to move on anyway. So Christian's in AEW, we know that.
Yeah.
Tony Khan's in AEW. Big player there. One of the big guys.
Quite important, yeah.
One of the big guys behind the scenes. Big Tony. Oh, here comes Tony, they say. What's happening today? And he's done a tweet teasing something. Can you believe it? I can't. Yeah. They won't either. Right, Tony Khan tweeted, I'm betting that excitement from the most anticipated announcement in AEW history at AEW Rampage, the first dance, will build up through All Out on pay-per-view, will make new fans, and we've done a little plus, and will welcome dormant wrestling households worldwide back into the fold. A new era in AEW begins tomorrow. What could it mean?
I think he's just reminding everyone about the previous tweet he sent about 2.0 signing, but we'll talk about that.
We'll get that in a second. We'll get a second. But I mean, a lot of people are going to be jumping straight down on this and being like, "Oh, it's CM Punk coming back." But nobody seems to be pointing out that one of the final words is era.
Ooh.
Why am I the only person who is able to stop ripping my dick off for 5 seconds over CM Punk to say it? I've enlarged it.
Yeah.
That says era.
You're not wrong.
Adam Cole or Bobby Fish or any of them. They've got unlimited money.
Look, this is all presumably heading towards CM Punk, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in our Twitter questions, but you have to assume that tonight, Rampage, he's showing up. They've put a little trail of breadcrumbs with Cookie Monster shirts and doing pipe bombs, and Darby Allin saying he's the best in the world. But you're not sure, are you? You think we've got far too far ahead of ourselves here. Look.
I'm a little bit more out of the loop than the rest of the guys these days. I'm very, very, very busy and important these days, you understand? So I'm a little more out of the loop. So I asked the office yesterday, because now we are all in the office. Oh. So CM Punk's, this is definitely happening, right? And what happened was I got 5 people turn around and go, yeah, of course it is, because it just is. And I've looked at the evidence. I've considered all the points. Fair arguments, all of them. Mm-hmm. I think there's a very good chance CM Punk returns to pro wrestling tonight. Do I think 100% chance? I do not. I would not be surprised in the least bit. I find it hilarious, in fact, if this is all a tease building up to a tease within a tease, and maybe he is coming back, but maybe it's just not tonight. Maybe if they're going to bring him back as a heel, they want to do a bait and switch. Maybe there is something to be said about not bringing him back to this huge pop, maybe to kill the enthusiasm a little bit, maybe to do it on my own time, not when you idiots want me to, or etc, etc. Maybe I'm cynical. Maybe I've just been worn down by WWE over the years, but I'm just saying, I think there is a chance it does not happen. And if I have to be the only person who thinks that, fine. But I just think there is a chance. I think you're all getting a little bit carried away with this. I think you're all forgetting about all the times wrestling has let you down before. I want to believe. I want you all to experience that. It'll be great. But I just think, guys, breathe.
It would be really funny if Andy and Ben Roy live stream tonight and watching Jade Cargill versus Kira Hogan, which I'm sure will be great.
All right, I'm off. I've got the weekend off. After we finish today, I've got no concerns. I'm going to set my alarm for pretty much the end of the show just to see whether or not CM Punk has come back. And if he hasn't, I'm just going to tweet. I'm going to send Ben Roy and Andy a picture of me in bed going back to sleep.
But do join us for the live stream for AEW.
Oh, yeah, imagine how good it'll be if he does come back.
Oh, it'll be fantastic.
It'll be great.
And it is going to happen. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a second. Let's conclude by talking about SummerSlam and WWE attempting to get Mike Tyson involved in it, apparently. This is according to PW Insider. They apparently wanted Mike Tyson to do the voiceover work for the opening video package for SummerSlam.
Excuse me?
And he no word on why he didn't do it, but he didn't do it, and no word on who they've got.
Something to do with the prominent lisp, I would imagine.
Yes, that probably won't help, and the fact he's obviously done quite a lot of work with AEW recently. But
Mate, do you want to come do the voiceover for SummerSlam? For SummerSlam? I mean, of all the shows, get him to do WrestleMania.
Yes.
Get him to do Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so they tried to get Mike Tyson. No word on who they've got instead. They've been reportedly linked with lots of celebrities for SummerSlam, of course. I think they were going to get Cardi B.
There was a lot of talk about
people
this.
like that.
A lot of people got very annoyed about this.
But no, Mike Tyson's not going to be involved in it. But I can't believe it's tomorrow. It's a hell of a weekend for wrestling. You got Rampage tonight and SmackDown, of course. You got SummerSlam and you got Takeover this weekend.
Yeah, I'm off.
Yeah, okay. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. At WhatCulture WWE, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Kevin S. Ramsey 1 on Twitter, who says, with Adam Cole's handshake extension coming up on Sunday and all the change coming to NXT, do you think that he re-signs with WWE and makes the jump to the main roster and possibly goes after the US title on Raw, brother?
No, I don't think that. I think with everything, this is a genuine point. I think with everything opening back up, there's a lot of indies going to have a lot of big plans for the coming year, and obviously Ring of Honor and stuff like that. New Japan are going to be doing loads of stuff. I think he's done a run in WWE where he's been very successful. I don't think you could look back at Adam. You could maybe say there were things you wish you'd done differently or stuff you'd done more of, but I think if you look back at Cole's entire run, it's been critically acclaimed match after critically acclaimed match after really interesting storyline. The guy dragged an incredible match of the year candidate out of Pat McAfee. Right? Or Pat McAfee. Like, I always get told I'm saying it the wrong way.
Security provider.
Yeah, like normal wrestlers don't do that.
Yes.
It would have been fine. It would have been exciting. I'm sure loads of people on the roster could have got something good out of it, but they wouldn't have got that out of him. I think he's probably. I don't know what more he can do in WWE that wouldn't be like underwhelming compared to what he's already done. And I think the age he's at, with the reputation he's got, and the opportunities that are about to open up, whether or not it's AEW or not, it doesn't really matter. He could do a couple of weeks there if he wants to. You can jib it in and out. I think there's loads of stuff happening. I think he could go have a lot more fun elsewhere. And I think if it's a simple case of a contract expiring rather than having to weasel his way out of one, I think you just go. Plus, I think he's probably got enough stock there that he could go do that for a couple of years, and then if he wants to come back and do a reduced schedule, I think he's got. I think every door in wrestling is open to Adam Cole.
It is unquestionably, it's his ball game basically. If I was WWE, I'd be throwing all the money in the world at him, because I think you look at the landscape of NXT right now, and I know that's changing and stuff at the moment. I mean, no offense to Kyle O'Reilly, but he looked like the biggest star in NXT when they were going back and forth there. And, you know, the potential of like a match with Cole and Samoa Joe is great. And also, if WWE want to keep him and he's like, I've kind of done everything I want to, apart from the Samoa Joe match in NXT, I don't think he's going to Raw to chase the US title. But the issue, of course, is if he does go to Raw, he obviously should be challenging for the world title. But it's so small when he's compared to...
You can just see this, like, you flash forward this 18 months forward, can't you? All slightly older, slightly more tired studio, all the foam's coming off the wall. Why on earth would you just release Adam Cole 18 months into a $2 million a year contract? I mean, fair enough, they've done nothing with him on SmackDown. Why do you have that US title run for 3 weeks? It's just every time they re-sign these guys, you can just see someone's going to go down a spreadsheet and go, $2 million? He's 5'6", and just get rid of him.
Like, I'd love to see him on the main roster, but I'd also would be terrified to see him on the main roster as well, because Vince would look at him, look at his arms in particular, and look at his height and go, yep, you're probably lucky to challenge for the 24/7 title, but he deserves to be a world champion on the main roster for me. But I would suggest he might also be going to AEW, as a lot of people seem to be at the moment. Speaking of which, Retro Rama 80s asks, what are the chances AEW will swerve the fans, keeping CM Punk off the show on Rampage and save him for All Out? If they do a swerve...
That's none of my business.
To answer your question, Retro Rama 80s, I think it'd be the dumbest decision they've ever made if they swerved Chicago fans and just went,
It's the Chicago.
see you all out. No. He's showing up tonight.
What's the question? What are the chances?
Yeah, what are the chances?
Honestly, of it being a swerve, 10%. 10%. Now, margin for error for NASA doing a full abort of a mission is less than 1%.
Okay.
So, like, that's 10 times more likely than a NASA mission going wrong.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I'm telling you there's a chance.
Right, final question today comes from...
I've just read The Martian, by the way.
Barryless, who says, while Liddy rests up for the weekend, first of all, good girl, Liddy, she would like to know what you think is the second best thing that will happen this weekend. There are a lot of choices. I assume the first best thing...
Why is he sending you a dog?
Because they send me nice doggles on...
What is this, Twitch?
Right. OnlyFans is closing down. Good stuff.
Where else are you going to get your dog content? What? What's the question? What's the second best?
Second best thing. I assume that he's thinking the first best thing is going to be, of course, Punk.
I'm going to London.
Right, what are you doing there?
I'm working in London for a week. Need to change scenery.
Look at this. One day in the studio with me, he's like, I need a week away.
On Sunday, my friend will cook me a really nice meal on Sunday.
Can I cook?
No, she's got cook. She's a really good cook. She's got a cookbook out.
What's it called?
Midnight Chicken and Other Recipes Worth Living For. Genuinely, it's a really good cookbook. You should buy it. I think you can get it at any country.
Dominic Mysterio.
Wrestling wise,
Dominic Mysterio is going to electric chair his dad on the Rampage.
Yeah, that's the second best thing.
That's going to happen.
I don't know why I'm bragging about how nice my life is.
Right, okay, let's move on to today's and finally. And the big news today, of course, bollocks to CM Punk.
Oh, look, if you lean here, the WhatCulture look can be a little hat.
What are we doing? Oh, yeah.
Top of the market!
Khan announced last night on Twitter that the Brilliant 2.0 are officially now all elite. I just wanted to use this moment to say congratulations to friends of the channel, Matt and Jeff.
Don't let me, though, do they?
They said you can get a taste.
Get it, sure.
You can certainly get a taste. One of the biggest missed opportunities in recent memory in NXT, the release of Everrise, in terms of they were so entertaining and they were like, no, bin them off, let's keep Imperium around.
Well, look, as the former NXT correspondent for this channel, I can say that I was never overwhelmed by the material they were given to work with in NXT. I was acknowledged they were incredibly entertaining, incredibly talented, but you got to call it how I see it. I got to call it how I see it. And what do we say?
I'm just happy.
If they were getting good material, why did they stay?
Yeah.
Why did they stay? And if they were getting bad material, you can't blame me for giving it down. That's my logic.
No, fair enough. But massive congratulations to Matt and Jeff. And yeah, the biggest AEW story of the weekend. There you go. Bish bash bosh. Let us know your thoughts on that. And all the things we've discussed in the comment section below. Who's better, Edge or Christian? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Lots coming your way today. We've got the SmackDown preview, got the Rampage preview, got WrestleCulture with a hashtag bloody good quiz.
Where are you recording those? WhatCulture Studio!
It's got a soundboard now.
Got a soundboard now, yeah.
That's going to get out of hand. What am I doing? Oh, yeah, and let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Adam Cleary at
Adam Cleary, Clery. I will not be tweeting about anything you probably end up following me for.
You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. You can follow all of us at WhatCultureWWE, as I said. But for now, my thanks to Adam Cleary. Thank you for joining us. God, it's good to be back in the studio. And we will see you soon.
It's finale on Monday.
Is it?
Wonder who Reigns is voting for.